but I want to still get some other science. So I do have a few contracts here that I think will help. One is this simply putting a polar satellite in orbit around Kerbin. That is easy enough. And I now have unlocked the mapping antenna that comes with stock for mapping resources. Again, harvesting resources and processing them is part towards building up self-sufficiency in space. So I think maybe getting up some of those, getting around Kerbin just to start, but then around the moon and probably around Minmus else would be a good idea. And there's also science that comes from Kerbalism associated with that. I also have get some science data from the surface of the moon contract and an uncrewed land on the moon and bring some science back or transmit some science back. I'm thinking maybe a rover. So this is sort of what I'm thinking to get the science ball rolling a little bit with some low-lying fruit, as it were, with doing some mapping. And then sending an uncrewed craft to the moon, landing in a biome I've not been in yet. And also doing some of the science that's associated with that part. So, yeah, that's kind of the plan for at least the next couple of streams, and then getting into this. So let me take a look at, or show you what I'm talking about as far as the... Is that a new mod to see the science I'm seeing in the... No, that is stock, that archive that is there. That has been... That just go to the R&D and push the archive button. That is right there. Okay, so just pull out my Octo probe. Let's take a look at the science equipment I'm thinking about. I also have the infrared telescope. I gotta do something with that too, but I am thinking... There it is, the M700 scanner. This is a stock part for doing an orbital survey and seeing where resources are. And I have ScanSat installed and it'll work with that as well. But I also have, if I configure orbital scanner, there is a science experiment. This comes from Kerbalism called the BEEP experiment. The biome exclusive experiment package. It is biome specific, specifically for space low biomes. Unfortunately, it takes well over a year, like more than a year and a half, to collect all the science that's available. So it's a slow burn. It's a slow collector. But I thought, just to get started, let's put a probe with this thing on it, with this BEEP experiment, in and around Kerbin. Send maybe it out towards the moon. And then I'll start thinking about maybe building a rover. So that's what I'm thinking about for today. So the first thing is to make sure that this thing can do what it needs to do. So taking a look, I do have some information here. Like for instance, let's take a look at this. I think it's under here. If I look at not the resource survey. No, what's a good button to look at? Sorry, I'm still getting used to all this stuff. Close that. This is the science archive from Kerbalism. If I take a look at the BEEP, there we go. Is that all the same data I have here? Oh, it is. It's everything that's the same here. This is what I'm looking for, the data rate. It creates data at 305 bits per second. So I want to do an antenna that will have to always... I get into this mistake always with picking an antenna that doesn't match this data rate requirement, and then you end up storing the data and it fills up. But the Communitron can transmit at 2.2 kilobytes per second, so this can do it easily. So you know what, I'm just going to put 2 of them because I don't know what the scanner requires. So we'll put on a couple of these. Extend, okay. We also need to put on enough battery storage for it to last through the Kerbin night, and I worked that out to be based on how much electricity it uses. It uses a fair amount, 1.92 electric charge per second. I worked out that I need about, let me see, I did work this out somewhere. Yeah, about 17, let's call it 1,800 units of electric charge. And my biggest is this guy. So let's think, how am I going to do that? Let's say this is 200. So if I put on 3 of these, I'm making this up as I go along, and some sort of a transition part. There we go. That is how many units of, oh, that's 21 units, 100 units of electric charge. I guess there's some electric charge in the probe body. That is 1,900 units. 16. I think I can take off one more of these. Oh, that'll help. 1,700 units of electric charge. That you know what? Put one back. Put one back. I've always cutting this stuff too tight. There we go. So that will do the electric charge. I also need generation to not only cover this 1.92 units of electric charge that this is going to use up, but also to cover what it takes to recharge these batteries over the night. And I worked that out to be, where did I work that out to be? I think about 6.5. Yeah, I did. Yep. Oh no, 3.73 units of electric charge. There we go. I can look this stuff up. So if I get to these guys, these are 1.6 each. So I think that would be 3.2. That's not quite enough. So I'm gonna go So I'm gonna go with 2 racks of these. I might need to put in more structural parts. Yeah, let's lift that up. Put in some of these cubic octagonal. I can't stop, but yeah, those octagonal struts. A couple more like that. That's the ticket. Move these. Whoops. Move these up a little bit so they have some room to rotate. And also take this scanner and rotate it like that. So when this is open, the solar panels for the most part have some space below that. And there is a tool down here. According to this, yeah, we produce now 3 point... Is it counting all this? What was this last time? I don't know. It's whatever. I'm gonna 1.6 times 4 is not 3.4, whatever this is. It's taken, I don't know what it's doing. I'm gonna ignore all that. Okay, so I'm thinking this is largely a probe. Let's put some lights on it before I like lights. Put some lights down here. Blinky lights. There we go. Okay. Oh, I want to have on my KOS scriptable control surface. Stick that. Where are you? Here you go. Stick that in there. There. We're going to up the carrying capacity up to 10 kilobytes, and we're going to install boot file number 1. I do have a checklist over here. I should make sure I'm paying some attention to what's going on here. So this thing, reaction wheels. It has no reaction wheels aboard because there are no reaction wheels in this. I think what I'm going to do, take that off and use the small inline reaction wheels, which are hiding here somewhere. There we go. There, I think that's good. Okay, so it's got control, it's got KOS. The probe has been configured. Oh, this. Configure the probe. There are no unmanned experiments that are worth doing anymore. I'm pretty darn sure. Yeah, I've done all this stuff. At least around Kerbin I have. So probe has been configured, science has been thought of, power generation has been thought of, electrical storage, antenna strength, antenna speeds has been thought of, data storage has been thought of, propulsion. Okay, let's get into propulsion. So we want something that's capable of getting itself into a polar orbit about Kerbin. I'm going to budget about 38. What kind of antenna height does this thing have? I should look at that. We do have an asteroid. I have an asteroid with a hub attached to it around the moon. I would not yet call it a station. That is something for the future. But for now, I just want to start getting some more science happening. Kind of what we're doing. Somewhere along here talks about its ideal height. There we go. Best height. Oh, but it needs to be in low space. So I'm going to put it in an altitude of about 200 kilometers. Should be fine. If I can put on about 4,000 meters per second, that should be fine. Let's see what happens. If I get into, let's arrange these by mass, because this isn't very much. Can I get away with, oh, there's no way I can get away with that little guy. Let's put structurally one of these back on here on the bottom. There's no way I'm getting away with just that little amount of fuel, but I just love that little can. And an ant engine on the bottom. What's that going to do for me? 185, thrust to weight 2.26. Yeah. No. We'll do a little bit more involved than that. What happens with an Oscar B and a couple of these spiders? Oh wait, I got the spark. What happens with the spark on the bottom? Throw the ant away. 1.9, that's maybe a better plan then, as I make things up, is one of the flatter, I guess that's the flattest, yeah, that might be, that's, I don't know, that's not stupid. I might just go with that and get that structural bit back. I might just go with this. I like the minimal look on these engines when they're just orbitals. We'll just go like that. Oh, the solar, that's just the way I rotated the solar panels. I'm being asked why are they like that. It's just the way they'll rotate the right way when oh, that was just, I rotate them that way so that when they're retracted, this is a little bit on top of each other. Maybe I should rotate this back the other way. Now that that is being drawn attention to, I always push the wrong button first. Oh, for goodness sakes. Maybe that will look better like that. Sure, why not? There we go. Okay, that's not, this can be closed. I don't need that to be open anymore. That's a lot. I just need to put a little booster on the bottom of this thing. So let's put on, what do I got for boosters? Oh wait, I need a fairing of some kind. Do I want to take the fairing? No, I don't. I'm going to do this. A decoupler with, I guess, the 1.25 meter fairing. Track these antennas. Yeah, just straight up. Oh, I think I need to get around. Yeah. There. There. Okay, now I need to slap a booster under this. I'm hoping this will all go pretty quick now. Looking at my booster collection and organizing by, there's my smallest one there. Is this going to get the job done? That's a total of 4,700 meters per second of delta V. That is way more than I need. Okay. We'll give this a test in a little bit. So what I think I might just do is just start emptying tanks. Why not? I need about 4 grand. There, that's enough. Thrust away. Every once in a while I take a look at the chat, make sure that I'm not doing something stupid that someone's pointing out. And let's see, go through this. I got propulsion taken care of, RCS doesn't matter, parachutes doesn't matter, thermal protection doesn't matter. I did put lights on it. Upgrades, it doesn't need any upgrades. Thrust to weight ratios, ooh, let's check. Get rid of this for now. That's on the bottom, that goes next. That's the fairing, that makes perfect sense. What is this goes with here? Why do I? What is... Oh, wait. It has a second decoupler here that is completely... No. Come back. That is not necessary. There we go. That's making some sense. Yeah. Delta V is still good. TWR is a little on the low side. Not much on the low side, but a little bit on the low side. There we go. Okay, thrust to weights dealt with, fairing deploy. I got to put this on an action group 5 for the script, which you'll see very shortly. People haven't been seeing my launch script of late. I'll spend some time with it. So this is going to be to deploy the fairing while I'm thinking about the fairing. Up the number of sides, up the ejection force, clamshell deploy. Okay, where's my checklist? Here we go. Fairing deploy, staging I just checked. And fine print on the contract. The only contract I am looking at right now is this polar contract, and launch a new vessel, it's uncrewed, achieve a polar orbit with an inclination between 85 and 95 degrees. Easy peasy, lemony squeezy. So that's all that's going to be to that. So I think my checklist is taken care of. I'm thinking this is a thing. So I have no idea what the call is. This is the Octo to Kerbin MapSat, because I have no imagination. There we go. All right, so we're going to give this a test. Make sure that this is scanner likes to load deployed. Oh, okay, I'll check on that, Michael. Thank you. So, I also, speaking of action groups and deployment, I should in the 0 action group, which is what I like to do once I'm clear of the atmosphere, I'm going to toggle these antennas and we'll deploy all of these solar panels. Oh, they just extend, but that makes sense because they aren't the ones that retract again. And I'll deploy this one by hand. I'll start it all by hand. Yeah. Okay. Save. Just check that the experiment has not been started yet. Nope, everything is stopped. Okay. All right, let's see what we got. So let's hit the simulator from the KRASH simulator. Okay, so I got my KOS script. All I need to do is run my launch script. I believe I put in the inclination first, which is 90 degrees. My target apoapsis, didn't I say something like 200 kilometers? That sounds familiar. And a normal attitude. Hopefully I've put those numbers in right. And this should take care of the rest. Yeah, and I'll bring up my contracts. I think I have the ScanSat contract pack. ScanSat contract pack. I do believe I do have it installed. At least I think I do. Look at those lovely exhausts. That looks just great. But this is just a generic put in a polar orbit thing. Kerbalism, to my knowledge, still doesn't get along well with ScanSat. ScanSat works, but you just don't get the science through Kerbalism. I don't really know what that is about. Yeah, those plumes are from Waterfall. Actually, somebody in a comment suggested that I should also install Real Plume to cover the engines that Waterfall doesn't get. So I have not done that. I was thinking about it and then I forgot to do that. By the way, another thing that I've been doing in the interim, though I've not put too much time into it, is designing a launch script for my space plane. So the space plane will take off from the runway and insert itself into orbit all by itself. I'm hoping that will speed up the when I fly the space plane. And which won't be happening today. Today's going to be all non-Kerbals. But I'm hoping that will sort of speed up that process. It seems to be going well. I've got it right now cutting off at about 20 kilometers, which is around the time where I would want to go to closed cycle mode and switch on the rocket engines with the spaceplane. But I'm in the process now of tweaking the ascent parameters, like what pitch should I be at in the lower part of the atmosphere, what pitch should I be at when I get up in the higher part of the atmosphere and really want to build up speed, where should that transition happen. So I'm twiddling around with those and seeing what works best, and then after that I think the rest of it will be pretty easy, because after that I'm just going to borrow from this launch script and follow the same profile that this thing does. Because I think once you get above about 25-30 kilometers, the spaceplane basically just turns into a rocket. Alright, this is working pretty good. So far, so good. What mod am I using for the clouds? It is Scatterer with the Environmental Visual Enhancements mod, which has all kinds of settings associated with it. Did my engine just turn off? I'm out of fuel. Oh, I know what I forgot. This is why I test. That thing just ran out of fuel, which is actually was to be totally predicted. This thing is going to do a lot of the work here. But my launch script doesn't detect staging events. I have to use a smart part for that. Why didn't I have smart parts on my checklist? I don't know. Okay, so I'll have to get back and do some smart parts. Alright, I'm just going to see if this thing inserts itself okay. Seems to be... No, it seems to be doing a pretty good job. Seems to be doing alright. Little spark engine just working away up here. Let's give it a little bit of time acceleration. Remember, this is going all the way up to 200 kilometers here. I'm a little worried that I might end up passing my apoapsis. My script ain't too smart and may not notice that I might be stopping. Oh, wait. Time to apoapsis has just stopped at 22. It's now starting to climb. Good. And that was because there was a period of time, I don't know, it was a good 4 or 5 seconds, I think at least, that I was not under thrust. Almost there. And should be in an inclined orbit of 89 degrees. That meets these parameters. Okay. All I want to do is get up to 70. At 70, it should set up this should set up a maneuver node to do the final circularization. I just want to make sure I have enough delta V. And if I do, we're going to go back. We're going to do a couple of tweaks, and then we're going to do this thing for real. Okay, almost in space. There we go. Whoa! It whips around pretty quick. Might want to toggle those reaction wheels. Okay. Oh, wow. Oh, it's 15 minutes away. That's right. Okay, so this... Okay, 96 meters. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so if we do a few fixes, I'm sure this will be fine. So we're going to terminate this simulation. Yep. I might just turn down the reaction force on those reaction wheels, because that really whipped around pretty sillily. There we go. So small inline reaction wheels. Let's see here. Let's turn this authority limiter down to 1/3. How about this? I didn't like the color there. White, dark. Dark is better. That's even way better. Dark, dark. Okay, and also, oh, a smart part. Do I not have smart parts on my my toggle list here? Ah, silly person. So I want the fuel sensor. Put the fuel sensor right here. Boink. So the fuel sensor here will wait for the liquid fuel resource to get down to 0, and then it'll stage for me. So I don't have to. Yeah, there's reaction wheels tucked in there. Okay. So let's save this. I think I'm ready to go. Let's launch this. Uh-oh, Saucy says he had a Kraken attack his lunar base. I have a Minmus base that I have contracts to expand upon it. Minmus is a very sensible place to have a base. But it has been very sketchy with Kraken-y nonsense ever since I put it there. And it's just, there's no Kerbals on it, thank goodness. So 90, 200, and N. Okay. Here we go. So this is a repeat of what we just saw, but it is what it is. What is in that? Natalie is pointing out that is the Kraken Valley base. So the Kraken Valley base was just built to satisfy a contract to build a base. It can hold 5 Kerbals. It has power generation and antennas. That's about it. And then I put docking ports on it with the idea of extending upon it. I have no real plan for it at all. There was a reason why I put it where it was that had to do with contracts as well. But it's been very Kraken-y where it is. So I've been kind of pretending it's not there. But yeah, I ended up calling the valley that it's in on Minmus the Kraken Valley because of all the nonsense that's happened there. But I'm nervous about putting Kerbals there. Okay. What is the auto launch mod? This is Kerbal Operating System KOS. What it is a programming language that works within the bounds of KSP. So this is a launch script, a launch program that I wrote, that I've been tweaking and modifying over the years. I'm now very, very happy with it. So it's not quite McJeb because you are the one that has to program it, or you can get somebody else's. But this is mine, and I'm very happy and very proud of it. Okay, where are we at? Now this time, when this fuel runs out, this thing should stage. So I'll be on the lookout for that. And it doesn't just do launch scripts, of course, KOS. It can do anything. It's limited really only by your imagination and your programming skills. Of which I have little of both, I'll be quite frank. How did you learn KOS? I learned programming back in back when I was a teenager and in my 20s, and just kind of extended on that, learning different languages over the... I've never been a professional programmer. Programming was never my... It was always a hobby more than it was a profession. Definitely was never a profession because I never got paid for doing anything. But it's a skill that I've always been interested in, and it didn't stage. There we go. Stinker. I don't know why the KOS part failed for some reason. That's okay. I think we're okay. I don't know Lua there, Fly Retro Gamer. I do not know that programming language. Like, to show you where I am in my programming, my first programming language I learned when I was in grade 12 in high school, when our high schools got their first computers. See, I'm now making myself old. Was BASIC, and I mean basic. And then in university, I learned Pascal and Fortran. So that is where my background is. In later years, I taught myself things like Java, a little bit of C, and things like that, which of course helps because those are a little more modern. But I am not up on my programming languages in the slightest. You know what? When this is done, I'll show you the actual script. I can't do it while it's running, but I'll show you the actual script for this. I'm not going to go over it in details, but that'll at least give people kind of a look-see at it. Okay, how are we doing here? We are slowly gaining, and yeah. This is now pushing up the Apple axis time very, very quickly. KerboScript, yes, that is the name of the programming language, Michael has pointed out. And it's an object-oriented language. It's very specifically oriented around KSP, with all kinds of functions to help with doing the kinds of things you would be doing in KSP. Okay, this is going to kill it at 200 kilometers. Boink, there it goes. And we are almost in space too. Whoa, 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 whoa. That might not have been a fair thing. That whipped around again really quickly because I had I had the physics warp on at the time. Okay, and now, yeah, let's get out to this maneuver. Our periapsis is already very high at 66 kilometers, so it's a very, very, only 100 meter per second burn. Okay. Then we'll fire off this satellite, and then we'll look at getting one out towards the moon. But I will show people this. Once this is done, I'll have access to the terminal window. It's just about to do that final insertion here. Got 20 seconds to the insertion. Yeah, I like it with the sun shining on me and the blue planet there. And the lens flare. Makes me think I'm in a J.J. Abrams movie. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, and there we go. Okay, that should be good. Switching to vessel. Program has ended. So just to show people, this is now done. It's inserted. Did it look? Oh yeah, 201 by 200 kilometers. I'm happy with that. I can list. We'll go back to the switch to 0. That's the volume that the program's in, because it automatically switched the volume to the vessel. I know that launch script isn't there. And all I have to do is edit launch, I believe is the name of the program. There we go. So this is what the programming language looks like down here. They give you a little editing window for you to... There we go. I did my best to document it. I thought I did pretty good with that. But it is sort of a C-based type of languages, as a lot of modern languages are. You can tell it's a lot longer than this. You can edit the program in this editor here, but honestly, it's much, much better to use an external editor. Okay. Meanwhile, this is done. Why don't we... oh, you know what? I do have, speaking of KO, all these programs I keep forgetting because I went through a whole stage where I was playing nothing but stock. But if I go back... Why is it not... There we go. Switch it back to the vessel. I have an align, run, align, D for dorsal. Oh, look at that! This is for aligning up solar panels. Well, that didn't work. Okay, so, okay. I think I have to roll this way. Okay, so that's going to be for the solar panels there. Close that. And now what we can do is open up this scanner. We're going to start the beep experiment. I'm going to watch over here, and what I'm particularly concerned with is electricity. It still says perpetual here, and now I'm going to start the resource scanner. And there is an unmet requirement. I told you Kerbalism doesn't work well with... What is the unmet requirement for the resource scanner? I have no idea. So something's wrong with the resource scanner. I don't know what it is. I'll have to investigate that, but I am collecting data with this beep experiment, so at least that's something, and that data will get collected in the background, and this thing will continually generate a little bit of science for me.